Welcome to Cybersecurity District, the podcast where we interview the most inspiring minds in the cybersecurity industry. Get ready to meet our next guest in the district. Today's guest is somebody who hardly needs an introduction in the cybersecurity world. His name is Dimitri van Zantvliet, and he's one of the most well-known CISOs in the Netherlands. He's currently the CISO at the Dutch Railway. But that's just the beginning. Dimitri is a co-founder of the Dutch CISO community. He's an active and very good public speaker. I saw him on stage doing his magic. He's actively involved on advisory boards and committees like TNO and the Leadership Academy at the University of Amsterdam. He's the Dutch ambassador for the Global Council for Responsible AI. Beyond his many leadership roles, he's also an angel investor and advisor to multiple cybersecurity startups, helping shape the future of the industry from many different angles. Dimitri, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah.
Did you look it up at LinkedIn?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very active on LinkedIn. And when just reading out this introduction, I cannot help wonder, where do you find all the time to do so many things next to each other? What's your secret there?
Well, I think the secret is that I only need to work 60 hours a week for NS.
60?
And then you have a lot of hours left, right?
Yeah. But 16.
No, 60.
60.
Yes, 60. No, but I think all jokes aside, it's if work is passion, then passion is work. So I love my work. I love the field I'm working in. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working there, I guess. And I have no other skills, to be honest.
No, but this is rather diverse skills. It's investing, it's public speaking, it's being a CISO.
Yes, but it's all aimed towards the technology. I think technology has been in my life since I think age 7 or 8. And I'm spending a lot of time. I don't have a very active social life. I don't go to clubs in Amsterdam. I live in Amsterdam, so it would be easy to do, but I mean, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. So I rather read a blog or listen to your podcast or write an article. And if somebody is happy to read it, then that's how it works.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And from all the things currently in your life, all the activities that you pursue, what is at the time the thing you enjoy most? Is it looking for places to invest or public speaking?
No, I think what I enjoy most is being a father.
Nice.
So yeah, I have 3 kids, and the big one just graduated yesterday.
Congrats.
And the small twins, they got the result of the school. In Amsterdam, you need to be in the lottery. And they were in the lottery yesterday and got the results. So they both go to schools that they like to go to. And everybody's happy. Everybody's healthy. I'm a very blessed man.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
Yes.
But the family is always the most important thing at the end of the day.
Family is number one. Yes. Yeah. I try to sometimes ask them, or to see if they are still happy with me, because I am aware that I'm often abroad and also in the evening hours, not always available. Neither is my wife. She's also an entrepreneur and she has some evening events to attend to. But kids are self-supportive. They can bake their own eggs. They can warm up a meal or prepare a meal even. So yeah, I think it's all well balanced.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, they're getting used to it. And I want to shift gears a little bit, maybe to the early days of your career. I saw you started more as an engineer in IT, but what was your first encounter with cybersecurity, and what made you want to dive deeper into this field?
Yeah, I think when I started working, I first started working on drilling rigs offshore. And I was educated as an electromechanical engineer with digital components. So I was programming PLCs, ladder diagrams, on drilling platforms. And then the first, I think, measures wasn't so much cybersecurity. It was more like how do you say, access protection, and getting the 40 to 20 milliamp systems protected via dip switches. It was all a bit different than it is nowadays with AI on your EDR and XDR. So yeah, I think it all started in the early days on drilling platforms, and then I joined a company that was doing more like office automation, and that was in the early days of antivirus, when the antivirus software came. So that's, I think, the first encounter with some kind of cyber defense, and then it all, gradually worsened the outer world, and we needed to keep pace. And I've been CIO and CTO, and I also did programming, like the old school COBOL RPG. I did some network engineering as well, pulling cables even. So I think also in the cyber field, I did many of the jobs myself, and I still do sometimes. Whenever when the shit hits the fan, I like to help out, pull up the sleeves and jump into the mud.
That's funny that you started in OT.
Yes,
and that you're now at NS. Of course, it's also
it's
OT.
a very big OT company. Yeah,
And not everybody in cybersecurity ends up becoming a CISO. What were the biggest leaderships lessons you learned along the way?
yeah. I was a CIO, a CTO before, so IT has always been my cup of tea, and I think even on the drilling rig where I started, I was, I think, within a couple of months managing a team. So working with people and trying to see how to achieve things as a team has always been my approach. It's in, I think, my DNA, and sometimes that stands out. If nobody else is doing it, then you're the only one, and you can be the chief or the team lead. And I was always, trying to see if someone could lead a team, and then I would volunteer. And at first, the first jobs, you make a mess out of it. You think you are the best boss in the world, and you still had to learn so many things. So I had to fall and get up, and fall and get up. And yeah, it's all about, I think, style, giving people enough room, not taking the credits yourself. And at younger age, if I talk for myself, sometimes your ego stands in the way. You would try to have the credits yourself and take all the shine and the credit. And then at a later stage, you learn that it's better to give the team, the room and the credits they deserve, and it makes you a better leader. But also that I had to learn with falling and getting up.
And what's your way of learning in general? Do you like to read things, listen things, or is it also just by doing and getting feedback from your actions?
I think I'm a very theoretical person, to be honest. So I did some university degrees, and still do, and still I finished some education a couple of months ago. So almost every 2 or 3 years, I try to see if I can add something to the gray brain cells. And the last thing I did was around AI, and I'm looking again into some university course, a master course or something, somewhere in Oxford or Cambridge, to really educate myself better in that direction.
Yeah,
because that's where the world is going, and I need to catch up, at least with the younger stars that are in the team, to help them and to understand also what's needed for them. So I think this I did the same for all the certifications that we require when we hire people, like CISP, CISM, CISA, and all the stuff. So I decided I need to have them myself as well, so that I know what I talk about.
Yeah.
That's not always easy. So like the CISP was kind of, yeah, was hard work.
Do you really care about the certifications also when hiring new talent?
Yes. Yeah, we
Nice.
do. We look at certs. They might be expired. That's not a big problem, but at least you need to show that you did the work. And I think the same goes for a higher degree or a university degree. It shows that you have been able to get up every morning, do the work, and be consequent and have a focus on achieving a goal. And you don't always have to have all the right certifications, but you need to show that you have the stamina to fulfill a journey and to come to a result. And with large organizations like Dutch Railways, so we have 22,000 colleagues. We are all over the Netherlands with over 400 stations, and it's a big organization, and you really need to have stamina. You need to have grit, to achieve things, and to have such a large organization switch tracks. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of persuasion, and you need to do it as a team. You need to do it together, and you need to look for the long long run, the multiple year achievements. Yeah, so no quick wins at our NS.
No, it's very interesting. So what you're saying is we hire for people and we look at their education and also the certification, that we can also test, are they willing to go the long run? Are they not easily distracted or bored or switch ideas every 6 months? Because then it's not a good fit for what you're looking for.
Yeah, at least in my departments where there's more strategic GRC work to be done, I can imagine that perhaps in the lower, less, experience levels, like for example, a SOC engineer type A, where you do the triage and stuff like that. That's also like a learning job, and where you can have less experience.
Yeah.
So there are certainly areas where you can step in as a rookie, and we can help you educate and we can help you grow. But in some areas, you really need to have the mileage and the experience, and also some life experience, and not to be distracted very soon, easily.
Yeah. And as the CISO at the Dutch Railways, what are the biggest security challenges, cybersecurity challenges you see today? What keeps you up at night? And also, maybe for the listeners, what would be like a worst case scenario if a NS really suffers from a extreme hack? Because I would imagine the whole country, the Netherlands, would just drop, like everything would go to shit.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it. But I think the importance of driving people to work was shown during the Corona period, where the doctors and the nurses needed to go to the hospitals, right? And if you can't transport medical people, then people will die. So I think that's when you really see that public transport is of essential to a Dutch society, any society for that matter. And that's why we were appointed also 21st of December in 2021 as vital for the Dutch economy. Yeah, and I think there's a new series. It's called Night Sleeper. I don't know if you saw it, where a train is being hacked by some kind of a ridiculous device that would put under a panel. I don't see that kind of stuff happening quite easily, and you don't see trains bumping into each other because they are hacked. If someone gets hold of data choke points where a lot of data that is necessary to steer the trains and adjust the timetables, when that is taken or brought down, then you can have quite some disturbance. But I've been working there now for a little bit over 3.5 years, and nothing in that respect happened. We do sometimes have some outages, but it's normally because of a change that has not been tested correctly, or something broke down somewhere along the chain. We also work a lot with ProRail, with the infrastructure manager. We have suppliers, sometimes they break down. And within that supply chain, when something is happening, you can have a disturbance. And then to get everything, the whole timetable within the Netherlands back on track, that's a massive exercise and very complex thing to do. And sometimes you really need to work overnight to start again on the next day, early morning, because that's the only solution. And that happened a couple of years ago. And that's a disaster. And everybody's feeling terrible when that happens. But luckily, it did not happen with cybersecurity yet. But I can give an example. In Transport for London, they were breached, I think, December last year, and they are still having consequences. Some databases still are being encrypted, so they were ransomwared. And that took quite some effort to get back on track. And I think tens of millions in damages have been reported. So that's, try to avoid that.
Yeah. And what if you look at the current geopolitical activities in the world and the tension, I assume NS, the Dutch railways, would be most concerned with state actors. Do you see an increase in things that might worry you, or during the last 3 to 5 years has it more or less been stable?
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, I don't share any detailed information, but the things that are known in public is that in the runway to the NATO summit that we have in end of June, there's a lot of activity at the moment. What we do see is an uptake of DDoS attacks in the sector. But you can say in general there's an uptake in DDoS. So what we did 3 years ago is set up a new department for cybersecurity threat intelligence. So we have a couple of people that are very active, and even early in the morning they look at the leak sites, the dark web, to see if there's anything related to our organization that can be harmful or that can be reused, like credentials or combos, fresh combos. So that's what we do almost automatedly, 24/7. And whenever something is found, then we try to see if it's a risk for us and try to take action immediately. We are watching the attack surface. We are monitoring the threat landscape. And then we didn't even talk about compliance.
Yeah. But it's fascinating that, so there's a NATO top in the summer, and then we're recording this in the beginning of April. And then there's already more DDoS attacks and more engagement, let's put it that way. That's pretty
actually
pretty extreme.
You see the same pattern whenever there's a very big event. So like the Olympics in Paris, they were indicative because the railway sector, there were some cabinets alongside the track. They were set on fire.
Yeah. Who caused that? They still don't know this, huh?
I don't know.
But it was really the first day of the Olympics?
It wasn't me. Wasn't
No.
me. No. No, we have some ideas, but yeah, that was expected. So there's a lot of state actors that would like to disturb and like to give a signal, but there's also more and more activist groups that like to use hybrid attacks and with some kind of cyber in it to make a point and to get press attention. And that's also where you see that railways are sometimes being misused, abused even, for public attention and for press coverage. Yeah.
It would be something, of course, for state actors if they can interfere with a NATO event. That's really a big,
Yeah,
put
definitely.
it harsh, a good middle finger to showcase, like, okay, we got you there.
No, but everybody is very aware of that, and all the critical infrastructures are working together with the defense department, with the police, NCSC, NCTV, AIVD, MIVD. Yeah, so next to NATO, there's also a war going on in the Ukraine, and some goods and stuffs are brought in via the harbors in the Netherlands, transported over rail to the eastern side of the Netherlands, and then crossing the border. And some goods are being shipped back to the harbor. So that's also, something that we take into account, and we have scenarios prepared to deal with all kinds of interventions, whether that's from state actors or from activist groups or even script kiddies that are, fumbling with some toys. So yeah, we try to be very proactive in that respect. It started already when the first tanks were being transported from Russia via Belarus to the Ukraine. Then the first malware was being developed to disturb the railway sector, locally. But as you probably know, there's only so many suppliers that provide railway equipment, so we kind of almost use all of us use the same supply chain equipment and components. So in the West, we were very cautious that this kind of malware and even wiperware that would erase your master boot records, that would spread out over the rest of Europe. So we did some scenarios to have some countermeasures in place, and it's quite a challenging time, you could say.
And for you, did you ever imagine that you would be at the front of all this, dealing with all what you mentioned, the IVD, the MIVD, intelligence services, and then actually, if you say with Belarus and Russia, that the railways, of course, have a huge impact on the actual warfare that's happening. What did you ever imagine that? And the follow-up question on that is also, what type of person would do well in such an environment? Because you also have to be very politically aware and be very cautious. So maybe if you want to achieve things very quickly, maybe you end up doing something completely wrong that in months later turns out to be a bad decision. What type of character do you think is successful in such an environment?
Yeah, well, first of all, we are not at the front. So I really have a lot of respect for my Ukrainian colleagues at the railway in Ukraine. They are at the front, and we are just, sitting by. Of course, we are very involved and try to look at scenarios together with all the agencies you just mentioned. Yeah, and for that you need some kind of you need to be a mature person, I think. Not per se a very well seasoned cyber person, but you need to have some gray hairs perhaps, and be well balanced, and perhaps have some mileage on your clock, on your engine. it also helps if you've been breached a couple of times and did some incident response activities, negotiated with actors, adversaries. So it helps to run a large cyber department if you've done it before. Those kind of things help, and that's, I think, also what they are looking for if they hire a C-level person, whether that's a CISO or a CIO or a CMO for such a big organization. You don't take someone just graduated from university.
Yeah. Well, what I find fascinating with you is that you deal with topics such as this, so really geopolitical tensions that also affect your day-to-day work. But then you're also a public speaker, and then you very much involved, I think, also in the AI and the responsible use of that. But then you're also investing in startups.
Yeah.
So I think your brain then shifts from, okay, say the situation in Ukraine and the NATO, and then now I'm going to talk with some founders that just started a cool cybersecurity startup. So that's for me, that's fascinating. That requires a lot of different ways to look at problems. So I think that, I just want to give you a compliment, basically, that's saying that's really nice that you switch gears and go from very small to extremely big global topics.
Yeah, but I think it's all some kind of it's correlated. So I can get sometimes very well informed when I go to a cyber conference and I talk to peers that I don't see in the Netherlands. I can't meet in the Netherlands, and some things you don't discuss over Teams or WebEx, and it's better to do in person. If you like to share some confidential breach information or things that really worry you, then those are the places that you can get some intel, and that's I think that's the benefit. Just being on stage wouldn't cut it for me. Just doing your talking points, that's not the idea. Idea is to cultivate the network with the best cyber people you can see and find, and try to relate, try to learn from them, and also build some kind of a global network. Because in the Netherlands, I can't talk to another Dutch railway CISO. There's only one, right? So we have a lot of exchange of ideas and information with European colleagues. And sometimes I go to Middle East, for example. I've been there now a couple of times, and a lot of innovation is taking place there. And it's very fascinating to see that they are building a whole new city that is built in the form of a line.
Yeah.
The NEOM, the line thing. Yeah. And I've been there a couple of times. They asked me to do some talks about the next generation smart city. It's called a cognitive city. It's a smart city with a lot of IoT with an AI overlay on top of it, and then building that in the line. But the interesting thing is that the line is that city that is I think 170 kilometers long, like a line, like a strip.
Yeah.
And in the center of it it's called the spine. It's a railway. So that's funny, right? There's a lot of animations where drones are flying and people are using all kind of fancy stuff. But in the core is still the railway for the high-speed connectivity.
And have you been there?
Yeah, well, it's still being built. I've been into Riyadh. I think that's the closest by I came. But I discussed with my son, my oldest son, that we would like to visit the NEOM, the Tabuk region. So we decided that we will go either this year or next year, to have a first view on how they proceed. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff being done there, and I think it's like with the journey to Mars. perhaps we will never reach Mars, but everything that comes out of that journey, all the innovations that are being done, it's fascinating to see. And that sometimes is a difference in the job that you're in, and being there and getting all the input of the possibilities that are out there. So if you talk to consultants that are working in Dubai or in Riyadh, for example, they all have a different vibe. They are doing proof of concepts of new things. Whether if you're working for McKinsey in the Netherlands, then you're doing layoffs and cost cutting and efficiency projects, and they are building things that never have been built before. So it's fascinating to be there and get inspired, and then it's back to the real world.
And we touched upon it a little bit, but you also are an angel investor, so you also look how you can support smaller, perhaps also Dutch entrepreneurs. How this side of your career came about? What triggered that?
I'm not sure where it started precisely, but I've been an entrepreneur myself for quite some time, and also worked for myself. Didn't pretty much like it, being a sole entrepreneur, a ZZP'er.
Yeah.
It gives a good income, but you need to do all the work yourself, like the invoicing, the bookkeeping, and that's really, I'm not good at that. So that became a mess. And then I decided, well, actually I work hard wherever I work. I'm focused, I'm dedicated. It doesn't really matter if you're on the payroll or working as a contractor. So I switched between being a consultant, giving advice, and being on the client side, like I am now, also many times. So I like both sides, actually. And along the way, when I'm 56 now, you save some money, you buy up your house, your mortgage, and then you have money. What to do with it? So on the bank account, it's not getting any better with all the inflation. So my wife is also very entrepreneurial, and she kind of started it many years ago, investing in some startups in specific funds. She's doing way better than I do. She's very financially capable. So I think I learned a lot from her, and gradually we invested it in some startups, and some are doing good and some didn't. But it's amazing to work with young people, are very passionate, and it's sometimes you need to be watchful that you don't get too emotionally involved, because at the end I'm still investing my own money and ideas to pass it through to the kids. So it's also for me sometimes a learning exercise to see whether you can spot a nice gem, and to help it grow to a diamond. And it's nice, and it's also, I think, necessary in the Netherlands. The ecosystem is very limited. We have a very limited domestic base, so to say. It's not Silicon Valley. It's also not Frankfurt or London. We're a small country. So helping Dutch startups find VC and helping them in becoming some kind of a sounding board, or helping them find a design customer, find new functionality, that's helpful. And the ecosystem in the Netherlands is also very small. So there's a couple of investors, and many times they look up each other, and that's nice. It's also about network again, but the people that you surround yourself with, and if they're nice people, then it's nice to do.
And what do you look for when you try to spot this hidden gem?
The team. I think the team is the most important. So if it's a well-balanced team, it's nice if they had some earlier experience as an entrepreneur. That because you know yourself, being an entrepreneur is sometimes very hard.
It's a big mirror in
Yeah,
front of your face.
definitely. Yeah. So that helps if you have some experience, and then there needs to be a good balance between development and marketing, and drive also to get the stuff to the market, and to work 80 hours a week or even more.
Yeah.
And ask your parents for funding, and all the fools around you that are happy to step in.
Yeah.
And also sell the pitch to VCs to get your first seed. And yeah.
What are technologies that you find most interesting?
Yeah, at the moment I really look for some AI savvy driven, agentic perhaps. Yeah, stuff that is going to be the next solution.
Yeah. And in what space do you see that happening? Because what I find interesting, because your job is also very with a huge cybersecurity department for Dutch standard.
Mm-hmm.
So you can also probably see the scalability of a good product. But in which domains within cybersecurity do you think AI will have the biggest impact, and therefore also has the biggest opportunity for entrepreneurs?
That's hard to predict, right? It's difficult to predict because every week the landscape sort of changes. I think where you can have a lot of ROI is where you can replace man hours with compute. So in continuous compliance, for example, there could be an AI, a positive business case. There's a lot to be done in anomaly detection area where a lot of things already happened. Don't know if you know, but we already have some AI in the trains. And we were, I think, the first in the world to have next gen firewall with IPS, IDS, and anomaly detection. So now it's driving in the first series of trains. We at Dutch Railways we use AI quite a bit, even from 1987 on.
Okay.
So there's a lot of use cases. If you want to find a seat, you get an advice that's AI. We do a lot of AI for getting the trains together for the next day timetable, the shunting. We use AI for predictive maintenance, for a lot of chatbots now. We have a Gen AI running our own chat NS with a lot of use cases already in it. So there's a lot of possibilities that you can add AI to your processes and business. And what I think is the agentic part will be interesting. If you can have it running autonomously within some kind of boundary where you say, okay, this is because for us, it would never go into the lower levels of a train, the safety levels. That's out of bounds. But, in the more admin part, in HR part, in administrative work that we need to do, even on a train, that could be a very, very relief. And I think within the whole world, it's making people more efficient using AI as IA, as intelligence assistant.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
I think the best business case. And
because you're also the Dutch ambassador for the Global Council for Responsible AI.
There's more ambassadors, but I'm one of them. Yes.
Yeah. What triggered you there?
It's also a bunch of people that started this initiative. Actually, it was Carmen March that started it. And she surrounded herself with some bright minds, some brilliant people that all have the same idea that you need to have some kind of a ethical behavior and some kind of responsibility in the usage of AI. And yeah, all those people came together, and she founded a new initiative, the Global Council of Responsible AI, and asked me to join, and I happily did so. So we had a launch meeting in London a couple of months ago, and it's now taking off. And yeah, there's more initiatives in the world, and I think this one will make a very visible appearance in collecting all the frameworks, and perhaps even doing some work in building a new one where the really responsible use of it will be on the top priority.
And were you asked because of your cybersecurity knowledge, or also just because you're a big fan of AI?
Well, I'm a fan and a user, and we are using it in the weekends. We were, even before Gen AI was launched, we were doing the beta releases, testing it on our old MacBooks. So if you look at Hugging Face, I don't know how many LLM models are out there now. 1 million, perhaps. I don't know. I didn't look at it. 1.5 million, I think. Yeah, but 4 years ago we were already doing all those testing, and so it's the engineer that is never stopping testing new things, and it's costing a lot of money because I always have those beta subscriptions, and I don't even tell my wife how many beta subscriptions I have, but it's also costing.
It's also not costly. Doing any well to the planet, I think. All these.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Huh? There's the Jevons paradox. I don't know if you know it, but this a scientist in the I think 1900s that did some investigation when the first steam trains were running and steam engines became more and more efficient. Then the expectation was that less coal would be used, but the opposite was the truth. So when the engines became more efficient, more coal was being used because everyone was using engines, and the better the engines became, the more coal mines were being opened. And the same is happening now with AI. So where the NVIDIAs are becoming more and more energy efficient, you see more and more usage of it. And so more and more energy is now being used while the data centers are becoming more and more green. So there's also a paradox in there.
Yeah, super interesting. Yeah. And to work towards a closing, you're currently pursuing so many activities. If you had unlimited resources and unlimited time, what big cybersecurity problem would you try to solve during the next years?
That's a tough one. If I had unlimited resources, peace on earth, right? That's the ideal thing. I don't know. I really don't know. Provide as many resources for everyone on the world, and you make the best use of AI to ban all the horrible diseases like cancer and all the other ones. Make people suffer less. Perhaps create some food in the shortage areas that you just mentioned. So perhaps if there's unlimited resources, cyber wouldn't be my first area of attention, but make sure that people are comfortable and trying to support a little bit.
Yeah, no, beautiful. What would you advise young cybersecurity professionals currently listening, or perhaps young entrepreneurs? What were some of the lessons that you now have learned, but maybe that you wished you knew, say, 20 years ago already?
Yeah, I think my best advice would be not to listen to me and just
that's very humble.
Live your own experience life, and don't listen to your parents, and experience yourself, and fall and get up. And I think the most important thing is not to get too distracted from all the, we have the social media, and you have a thumb for that is almost broken from the swiping.
Yeah.
And people are so nowadays being sucked into the initial gratification that comes with Facebook, TikTok, and stuff like that, but also stuff like distractions like alcohol, or going to clubs, and or even buying too expensive cars. Use your resources well, and take care of your health. I think that's so important. And luckily I see my kids do that, not because I'm the best example, but because some groups tend to have an interest in their own what you put in your mouth, and how many calories is that good food, or do we really need to have that bag of Lay's, or can we make our own popcorn? Watch out that you don't get sucked into distractions, and just be humble, and
follow your own path.
Follow your path. Don't listen to me.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to ask you one closing question, and we ask this to all the podcast guests. So Dimitri, here goes this question for you as well. If you could send one signal message to all the CISOs across the world, what would this message be?
That would be, hey guys and girls, it's a pleasure, it's an honor working with you all. Thank you for that.
Beautiful. Nice. Dimitri, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a real pleasure.
Likewise.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Stay safe, stay curious, and until next time in the district.